Greetings, gaming historians, and welcome to Lord of Lore, where we break down the lore and history of our favorite video games and fantasies. Today, we're going back into the world of Amalur to discuss one of the most prominent species in Amalur, the giant races. As those of you who played Reckoning may know, the giants are a species of massive, humanoid warriors known for their strength, cunning, and aggressive cultures. These giants, including Jotun, Etten, Myru, Diner, and Bolgans, typically hail from the harsh lands of Fortinmar to the east. But did you know that long ago, the giant races were actually united in their effort to raid and conquer their enemies? Let's discuss. Long ago in the land of Gentilak, there existed an alliance between many giant kin called the Ouranos Alliance. Members included the shamanistic Etten, the hardy Jotun, the bloodthirsty Diner, and the golem-like Myru. The alliance was shaky at best, held together more by force than diplomacy, and for much of the alliance's history, the Etten were its leaders. However, during the Age of Arcana, when magic was gifted to the lesser races, the Myru found themselves especially gifted by magic both in body and in mind. Eventually, the Myru, believing themselves blessed by Athene, reached a new pinnacle of enlightenment and believed themselves superior to the other giant cousins, renaming themselves the Kollossae. Forming a school of magic known as the Oraculum, they began to rapidly advance in magical prowess and ambition. Wanting to make the Ouranos a true world power like the kingdoms around them, the Colossi brought numerous advancements like education, organized religion, and, much to the giant's surprise, diplomacy. To prove their vision of the Ouranos kingdom, the Colossi demanded the building of a great city known as Athenius, something that the bitter Etten and the savage Diner refused to do. With the help of the Jotun, the Colossi built Athenius in 1771 BE. The Colossi lived in the upper levels, the Jotun lived in the lower levels, and the rest of the giants were to live in the outer walls. The Colossi's next step was to make alliances with neighboring kingdoms, so they declared an end to the alliance's long-lived tradition of raiding their neighbors. However, this radical change to the Ouranos was reviled by the Diner, and with the help of the bitter Etten, they began to organize a coup to overthrow the Colossi. Knowing they would need help, the savage giants enlisted the help of the trolls and launched their attack on Athenius in 1331 BE. The Colossi forces were pushed back to the city, and the situation grew more dire when a group of Jotun abandoned the Colossi to join the rebels. This war continued for many months, pausing only when the harsh winter came. As the winter season began to end, the desperate Colossi priests prayed to Athene for deliverance, and their prayers were answered when the goddess herself appeared and granted the head priest a vision of a land with mountains like fangs, a land known as the Teeth of Naros. Eventually, the winter ended and the snows thawed, so war began once again. However, the earth between the rebels and the city suddenly split in two. The Colossi took this as Athene's sign to leave for the promised land, so the Colossi and their Jotun allies departed from their city and made their way to the harbors. When the rebel giants arrived, many Jotun, wishing to stay and fight, held off their enemies long enough for the majority of the ships to leave unharmed. These Jotun would be forever praised by the Colossi as the Stand of the Blessed, while the Diner cursed their name as the Craven's Folly. After slaying the Jotun and the ships that failed to escape, the Diner and their allies marched back to Athenius and sacked the city. Meanwhile, the Colossi priests led their people over the Baleful Sea and to the Alpharian continent, and as they crossed the mountains of Alpharia, they discovered the Hyperion Temple. There, they found a great crystal known as the Hyperion and etchings of a floating city in the sky. Determined to build this city, the Colossi and Jotun began to mine the Great Warrens, and the high priest began to study magic in order to see the city raised into the sky. Finally, after years of construction and research, the Colossi managed to raise the city of Idela into the sky, but much to everyone's shock, the Hyperion itself failed to rise with the city. In a desperate attempt, the Colossi Primos Arches tried to raise the Hyperion by force, only for his followers to fail and disappear, and for their gods to go silent. For the next several years, the city of Idela began to wane. The Jotun left to form tribes in the wild, and the priests desperately tried to re-establish contact with their goddess Athene and the Titans. However, the Primos known as Anakatos discovered that their answers would soon be answered by a hero from the north, one who could change the fate of the Colossi. But what of the city Athenius and the relics left behind? Where are the Diner and what are they doing now? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below and remember to drop a like and subscribe so my channel can grow. Feel free to comment what you would like to see next. New videos every week. God bless.